into the first episode of Around the Shore. I'm Matt Doherty.
I'm Taylor Ventrice.
I'm Nicole Ericson.
And I'm Andrew Mason.
This past week, in our first seminar of the semester, we had special guests Emerson Latzia of NESN and Bradford of WEEI to talk about the state of sports journalism in 2018. And guys, what was your initial reaction from this past week's seminar?
What I liked most about it, I think Rob was one who said this point, and he said that things are just changing so quickly that we're the only generation that could go into a job interview and be like, tell the boss that like they're doing something wrong, and like we can tell them a better way to do it. And I thought that was so cool because you think about that, you think about going into an interview and you're like, no, I would never say that to a boss because like it's his company, like he's in charge. But it's cool that they think that way.
Something that kind of going off that point, something that both Rob and Emerson touched on a little bit is that there's going to be veterans in our industry that we are going to be scared of as people that are just coming into sports journalism. But in reality, we have the skill sets with technology and just new things that we have ourselves just from being millennials and being in this younger generation that these veterans are scared of. That people who have been in the industry long enough actually don't have that we do. So I thought that was pretty eye-opening. It was a good point made by Rob.
Yeah, and especially going off that, being able to have all these tools, at our hands and feet is being so versatile. Some of the things we need to be now is have all of the tools, be able to edit, be able to, produce, be able to be on camera. All of those things make you kind of like a utility player, And utility players are so valuable. You see it everywhere in sports. Brock Cole.
Hey, kids, exactly.
It can't be one-dimensional. And,
like a one-man show.
Emerson even said it. He was a one-man band for a very long time. And then once he got here to Boston, the first time that he actually did one job was when he got here. Yeah. And I think another, really valuable thing that they said to us was never stop learning. Even as we get older, I mean, there's younger kids out there learning technology that maybe we don't even know yet. So.
All right, and you can be great at your job, but you also have to know how to push that content out. And I think that was a very important thing that Rob said, because like, we can be the best writers in the world, but if no one sees it, then what good is it?
Yeah, no.
So, like pushing out that content, and I think with this like day and age, with all the platforms that we can, with if you write an article like a game recap, tweet it out, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on Snapchat, and like tag, like if you write about a player and tag them in there, then they'll retweet it, and then more people will see it. Like in WTBU, and Nicole's in it too, like and Andrew. Like for our stuff on our site, like Greg gets like hundreds of views on his things because he posts it everywhere. And like, so I wrote something yesterday, and I was like, I'm gonna start doing that even more. And like, I tagged like Bucknell Athletics, who BU played yesterday, and then like on Facebook, like put the link to our website so like more people can see it. I think that's so important.
Because the more people you tag, more retweets you're gonna get, more exposure. And
that's what Rob said, like with his stuff, like he did that podcast with Rick Porcello, and he said like he wrote an article about it, he like tweeted like a clip of it so people would listen to it, and it's so important and it's so easy to do when you really think about it.
I think another thing we need to talk about is, a big point that they made was, separating yourself and kind of, what can you add value to in a company and personality, and, and that was a really big thing. And I think something that really stuck with me that Rob said was, it's a fight for survival in this business. And if you can't separate yourself, and if you can't, define who you are and be yourself, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough for you to stay in this field. So.
Yeah. And going off of what you said earlier, before Nicole, they talked about how you like push your content out, and like how it's much quicker now, but also like the art and like what you write doesn't have to suffer. Like it should still be up to the par and stamp, which was awesome. I mean, like you read some things and sometimes they have mistakes, and you're like, oh, this was obviously pushed out in like 10 minutes, but like we have to be more conscious of that now, like in our generation.
And Nicole, you said like separating yourself. I asked the question to Rob that, do you think separating yourself, like in terms of personality, is that something that you can really like improve on? Because I feel like I have a pretty outgoing personality, but sometimes like when I'm on the air in a radio show or whatever, I could be kind of scared and toned down to the point where it's boring. Whereas like you guys know Max Walpoff, like he's outgoing. off camera and he is on camera,
Yeah.
and it makes for an interesting
Yeah.
person.
Mhm.
And so that's something that I'm gonna work on.
And we've had conversations about that, like do something different. Like you've
Yeah.
always said that to me. You're like, let's do something different that no one else does, and I think that's important, and that's what Rob and Emerson were really saying. Like Emerson loves on camera to be like to have a personality.
Yeah.
And remember when Rob said he walks into the studio and he's like, I hope I'm working with Emerson.
Yeah, because
Because
they get
they
along
can
so
just
well.
like get
yeah,
along,
and
and
like
that's
mess around.
it's important.
And like I think another thing about that personality is not only bringing it on camera, but also like on your social media. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have the
Yeah.
personality on your
The
social
social
media,
media,
like
no one wants
who-
to
yeah,
read
no one
anything.
wants to read anything
Anything
that
to
you tweet. So I think that was really interesting. And actually going through Emerson's tweets,
It's
he's
funny.
actually
He's
he's a really
hilarious.
funny guy. And
He's funny, yeah.
it's great. It just kind of adds to his all-around package, and
Mhm.
hopefully one day he'll finally like get to where he's trying to be. But it looks like he's really worked through the ranks.
Right. And I know if I'm looking for an anchor and I see Emerson, I go on his Twitter and then I go to someone else who doesn't tweet
Mhm.
or like doesn't have like a personality.
An online
I'm gonna
presence.
choose
Yeah.
Emerson.
Yep.
And do you guys all follow him
Yeah.
on Twitter?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I saw yesterday he posted like a clip of him on NESN on like a show.
Yeah.
And like
he's-
put it out and I
yeah.
watched it. Like I
Of
never would have
course.
watched NESN.
No.
But like now that I follow him I can actually
You
watch
it. And it's like
clips.
short
Yeah.
little clips, and it's so much
Yeah.
easier than actually watching it on TV.
Do you guys think this is a question that I wish I was able to I wish I had asked them, that how you want to have this online personality? Do you think it's almost like I know we met Emerson and he was really funny in person, but do you think it's almost like sometimes pretending or acting like you're this person?
On camera?
Yeah, or just,
100%.
yeah, like even though we're
You
not.
have to act on camera. It's
Yeah.
partly acting, but I mean, I wouldn't say like it's forceful funny
No,
for
no,
him. Like
yeah.
I think he's funny,
Yeah,
but
yes,
like he
he's
has
funny.
to act. Like you have to.
But
Otherwise-
off camera, I think you have to be like that too.
Yeah.
Like you can act like that on camera, but like if a person hiring you will know if it's fake or not.
It's
I
fake.
feel.
Yeah, if you're just
If
super
they-
boring in
yeah.
the interview.
I think also, I've talked to many people in the industry as well, and another thing that they really, harped on was be yourself, whether
Mhm.
that's on camera, off camera. So yeah, I'm sure part of it is a little bit of
Yeah.
acting, but I think another part of it is it's just really who he is.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he's just like he's just a
Hilarious.
very bubbly, personable,
Yeah.
guy, which is, I think is great.
And Rob was too. You two were dying laughing the whole
Yeah.
Oh
time.
yeah,
He was hilarious.
Stop laughing.
Yeah,
Look,
it's so
yeah.
important in
Yeah.
this field.
And I think another thing we kind of touched on a little bit is social media, and at what point do you think it's where do you think the cutoff should be about what anchors and athletes can say and not say on social media?
And that's tough. I think athlete-wise, if it's about you, I mean, you say whatever, obviously. If you're an anchor and you're working for a specific company, I feel like that gets hard. It's tricky because you kind of have to please the company, but it's also like you can say what you want, like free speech. So I don't really know. That's kind of tough.
Yeah, it's kind of the conundrum of like what we're doing as sports journalists and just kind of any figure that has an online presence. When you're representing a company or even like a team, if you work for like the Celtics, let's say, anything that you say,
Reflects on
it
them.
reflects on them.
Yeah. And guys, the whole point of this topic was also like, where is sports journalism in 2018? And they didn't even have an
They
answer.
didn't have an answer. I know.
Which was kind of funny.
It's like mind
But-
blowing to think about it.
I feel like, I don't know, what they said was kind of what it's like. Like not even, like I feel like they defined it just, like there's no specific answer, but like what they advised to us was kind of like, that's where it's heading.
Right.
And with like the technology and social media and all that, that's definitely where it's going. Because, back in the day, if you're a newspaper writer, it's all black and white. But now,
Yeah.
because of this, personality is so key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something like to where it's heading in the future. And they talked about it a little bit last Thursday, how like some players are stepping in and doing the jobs that we're studying to do.
Yeah.
Like in the Celtics-Laker game that was on last week, it was like players' night on TNT. So the like in like booth commentators, the actual
Fisher.
announcers for the game, the sideline reporters, everybody was a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, somebody who that's basically gonna like this is more I guess at the national level than the local level. Like I don't think Emerson has to worry about this too much, but like that is direct competition to
I
us.
know
Oh,
what, they're terrible.
100%.
But like I like to see that though
Yeah.
too as a
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah.
Like I would rather see, as a huge Laker fan, I'd rather see Derek Fisher commentating a game than just some guy who studied
Don't-
journalism.
Yeah.
But that is going
That's
to be me
true.
in the future.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough competition.
And that'll do it for our first episode of Around the Shore. Guys, good first show. And
For sure.
we'll see you next week where we talk about players in the media with Jason Tatum and Adam Himmelsbach coming into class. Should be a good one. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.